Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here, and this is going to be a different video than normal because I haven't done a vlog, ramble, update thing in a while, and there's also some really cool stuff going on with the channel. So if you enjoy finding out more about this crazy person that you watch, hopefully regularly, then you might be interested in this video because it's story time and a bit of channel updates. The first update, I'm actually really excited to talk to you guys with. So for YouTube, I have a network that I'm partnered with, and that is Freedom TV. For the month of October, you should probably watch as many of my videos as possible. If you want to like binge on YouTube, do so with my channel because 10% of my view revenue is going to charity through Freedom Network. So I think our network that we decided on is ASPCA. So it's about saving animals and stuff, and that's great. So I'm actually going to be a part of this through the network, and I'm really excited to announce that, so that's a really good thing. Alright, so now let's get on to story time. Now the reason I wanted to do this video for like story time about my energy drinks and stuff is because I consider myself an energy drink enthusiast, and I just got a great partnership offer with G Fuel. Now, the reason why I wanted to do this as a story time is I don't want to seem like I'm just selling product to make money or anything. That what I have hooked up is that if you go to gfuel.com, you make an order, that if you use the code Verlisify, so my channel name, then you get 10% off your order, and that's pretty sweet. So this isn't the Mountain Dew sponsorship I was hoping for, that everyone's like, oh man, if Verlisify gets sponsored by Mountain Dew, that's like the best thing ever. But G Fuel is the next best thing, because I drink this stuff regularly, that I go through maybe a tub a month. That's 40 servings, so I have like 2 servings a day of this stuff just to show my energy drink level, and it's really good. So there's my plug right there. I drank it on camera. See, it's not nasty. This is Phaseberry. It actually tastes pretty good. Actually, now I'm editing the video and I realized that was a really weak-ass sip, so I'm just gonna chug it. That's gonna be awesome. Now I'm gonna get wired after I make the video. That's excellent right there. So it's a powder, you mix it in water, and cool things happen. So, the reason why I want to do story time is to show that I am a fan of energy drinks. I've done some crazy energy drink caffeine ingestion, so mom, if you're watching this video, click away if you're concerned for my health or anything. That you probably don't need to know about my troubled caffeine past when it comes to this. And let's just get going. So, the cool thing about G Fuel is a tub for 40 servings is like 35 bucks, so it's actually that you get a serving for less than $1. Any other energy drinks is going to be like $1.50. So it's just a better deal, and that's why I appreciate it so much. I'm really happy I got this deal with them, so that's really nice as well. So there's my full disclosure, but overall energy drinks, like, they make me happy. I like having caffeine. And on previous Let's Plays and stuff, I've kind of talked about these stories before. So it all goes back to when I was in high school, and most of the time when I was in high school, I was actually not really doing too many high school things. That I would like sleep through classes, get like A's and B's and stuff, and then I would be up all night playing games. My game of choice back then was RuneScape or Super Smash Bros. Melee and learning like wave dashing and stuff. So I was like trying to get good at Melee, and I just no-life RuneScape so much. And throughout that, I was just like, okay, caffeine. I like caffeine. I like the rush of caffeine, as bad as it sounds. But at least it's keeping me off of drugs, so I guess that works out. And one of the craziest energy drink things I remember is this stuff that was called Next Generation Water. Now, pretty much what it was just like the craziest caffeine stuff crammed into a bottle that tasted like ass, but it was such a rush. Man, I need to stop using the term rush. It sounds like I'm like actually trying to get high off the stuff. But anyway, it was such a potent energy drink that the first time I had it, I just chugged it. I had to slam it because it tasted terrible, and I was just sitting there, I'm like, I gotta start running. I need to start running. So I like got up, I just ran out the door, and I was like, I had to run a mile, and then I ran a mile back, and I'm like, this is bad. This is bad. I still need to keep going. So that one actually kept me up for quite some time, and when I passed out, I slept for like 18 hours. So that means maybe need to calm down on the energy drinks and whatnot, because it was just one of those things where I just went, and it was crazy. So after that, I didn't have energy drinks too much, and then I just started drinking like regular Monster. I love coffee. I'll have coffee all the time as well. So I'd have like a Monster, I'd have a coffee here and there, just like keep awake and whatnot. So when I turned 18, I moved out of the house. I went from Miami to Seattle, and I started working like a dog because I just wanted to live on my own and stuff. And that's where this energy drink addiction kind of kept going, because I liked it in high school. I was like, well, this is my little, it was almost a hobby of mine to find energy drinks. That I would look for like these sketchy gas stations or these weird cornerstones where the guys didn't even speak English there, and then like in the bottom of the corner of their shelf they would have like an energy drink that's just loaded with all kinds of almost illegal levels of like caffeine and stuff. So I like just like trying those out and be like, this is exciting stuff. So I was having fun with those, but then when I moved out on my own, I was like, okay, this is actually like real now, that I have to drink all kinds of energy drink and caffeine to not only stay alive, but to make money to stay alive. So I picked up 2 jobs, and I was working 7 days a week overnight stock, and roughly putting in like 10 hours outside of the house a day because it was like an hour bus each way, and then I had an hour lunch break, but then I was working 8.5 hours overnights and whatnot. So I needed to rely on caffeine more than ever. And that's where the addiction started getting pretty ferocious. That I found that, you know, it got to the point where Monster, it wasn't even cutting it for me. And Amp, when I was drinking Amp, I found that the cherry Amp was the best because they were putting in yerba mate. So I was even, like, understanding all these other things. Like, okay, Monster, it's just not that great. It's like caffeine and filler, and it tastes terrible. Amp, the cherry flavor tasted like cough syrup, but it was a little more tolerable, and I really liked it. I had probably like 3 cans of Amp a night. I was like wasting just half an hour's worth of work in money. I was able to work 7 days a week, and I just kept going, and that was crazy. And then I found out about Wired X, and this stuff, it's like Everett only. That I was living in, not technically Seattle, but Everett, a little more north. It's just easier to say, hey, I'm from Seattle if you don't know where Everett is. So I started drinking those, and those had 300 milligrams of caffeine per can, and I would have 3 of those a day. So I was getting probably over a gram of caffeine because outside of coffee, I might sneak in a Monster if I had one of those. And I was also good at getting Rip It, I think is what it was called, because I would go to Dollar Tree and those were like $1 each. So I would get like 2 Rip Its and I'd mix in a Wired, and I was just, that was how I was surviving. I realized I had a problem when I had 1 can of the Wired X and it was like the 300 milligram one. I had a whole can. I was like, yo, I'm about ready to fall asleep. Either I'm working too much or I need to stop taking these, because that's how high my caffeine tolerance got. Was that I was way too into drinking energy drinks, and that was just kind of a problem. At that time, I was even working more jobs. I would wake up at 4 in the morning, and then, actually, no, I'd wake up at 3 in the morning. I would work from 4 to noon doing stock, and then I would do 1 to 4 sign spinning, and then I would do 6 to 9, 10, sometimes 11 making pizza, and I would only sleep for like 2 hours. So I'd get home, have to play some League of Legends, have to play some Pokemon, and then I would wake up after like an hour or 2 nap or whatnot, have a Wired, have like 300 milligrams caffeine, get a coffee at Starbucks for my break, and that was like how I was running my life. And I did that for like 2 months. I was working 70 plus hours a week, and I was like going off of energy drinks. But that was because I had this like fascination. Like, I do consider myself like an energy drink enthusiast, that it is a hobby of mine to consume and find energy drinks. And on and off, I'd like try new things. It's like, oh, this one has 180 milligrams, but has all these things in it. And I try it, I'm like, oh, this works. So I would just kind of like shift in and out of like whatever caffeine concoction I was cooking up for that week. But then when I moved to Denver, I did kind of back off on it because I was only working 2 jobs instead of 3 jobs. So I was only having 2 energy drinks instead of like 3, God, even 4, I think. Yeah, I was having over a gram of caffeine, which is really terrifying to think about. So I was doing that, and I was also sign spinning. So for those guys who haven't seen my video, I might try to remember to link in the description that I used to do some really awesome, just hardcore grinding sign spinning back in the day, and that was just, you know, I always had an energy drink. I'd probably drink 3 cans if I was on like a long 8 to 10 hour shift doing the sign spinning, because I was non-stop going. So I was always like trying to look for other things. I got into Rockstar a bit because the grocery store by my house, they were doing like a $1.11 thing on Rockstar. So to not go broke on energy drinks, I had a couple of those, and I'm trying to remember what it was. It was like a pink one that tasted really good, and I was okay with that. So I would just jam out the whole time. So then, you know, I just got into YouTube. I also did some other jobs as well. I was a manager at fast food for a while. So pretty much it was like I had to stay alive with caffeine is how I felt about it. And eventually I started working less and less because I had enough of a savings to where, you know, working all those jobs was mostly to make sure I had a buffer. If anything went wrong, I could be out of work for a couple months. I wouldn't have to go back home with my family, because that's kind of what I see it. I saw it like I made it out of the house, I need to be working, and nothing's going to stop me. Then YouTube worked, and then I ended up moving back to Seattle, and that's where I am now. So now with the YouTube videos, I've been drinking a lot of energy drinks. As you've noticed, I put out 2 videos a day, sometimes 3, 5 on Fan Fridays. I'm trying to like do the math here because, you know, I get upwards of like 15 videos in a week sometimes. Then I'm responding to tons of comments. I read and respond to every message. Pretty much I'm like always on a YouTube grind, which is where Gamma came into play. Now, I've actually been drinking Gamma since before the sponsorship because, as you can see, I already have a can and they gave me the sponsorship today. Now, I've probably been drinking Gamma for like the last 6 months or so, maybe a little less. I lose track of time pretty easily. But I've just been going on a video grind, and that's because I wake up, I just have a glass, and I'm like, alright, time to pump out some videos, time to get excited and whatnot, time to wake up. And it's some pretty good stuff that, considering all the expansive energy drinks I've had from, I will say next generation water, it's going to be at the top of energy drinks no matter what. The stuff got taken off the shelves after like a month. I'm pretty sure it got banned for being like way too potent. That stuff went away quick. And I loved it because it was like, that would keep me up for a day, just having one bottle of that stuff. So then I would put G Fuel second. Even though it doesn't have like the 300 milligrams of Wired X or something, I actually enjoy it quite a lot. And one serving does have like 150 milligrams of caffeine, and sometimes I'll put 2 in a glass, so that gives me about 300. But it also has like all these other cool things in it, like I'm just reading off the ingredients list. So they have like extra focus complex and stuff. It's not crap. Like if you look at other energy drinks, they add in like way too much taurine, way too much guarana, and a lot of like medical studies and stuff have been showing that it doesn't do anything. So this is like extra stuff that actually improves focus. So it keeps me going really well, and it doesn't taste like crap. So that's like one of the big things, that when you have like a hard energy drink, it tastes terrible. But this, since it's a powder, like they can get a little more dialed in on the flavor. And I have had energy powders in the past that, I'm trying to remember what it is. Is it Crystal Light? That they do like the little energy packets. Those only have like 40 to 60 milligrams of caffeine in them. But I would put like 3 of those in a bottle of water, and then that is what I would have for sign spinning as well. That I needed water to stay alive so I wouldn't get dehydrated, so I'd just mix in like a ton of those with water to where it'd almost be like a gel or like this really thick paste of energy stuff. So that probably wasn't too good for me either, but that kept me going. So that's kind of it. Like I love energy drinks, and that's like my secret weapon. That if I'm ever tired and I need to do a ton of work, I'll probably just have like 200 milligrams of caffeine, maybe even more, and just be like, all right, I'm gonna die young, but I might as well do it so that way I can get like busting on the YouTube or do some more overnight stock or whatever. And that's kind of it. So Gamma, if you guys are still watching this video for some reason and you haven't considered me a sellout yet, that's pretty awesome. So if you want to try this stuff for yourself, use the code Verlisify, 10% off. Pretty standard stuff, and I think that's it. So, wanted to tie in the product placement another way. I did want to announce the donations for charity this month as well. So if you guys enjoyed this video, just a bit of a different video, because I've been like doing way too many guides, I know this. We're in the 5th generation, like the guides are almost done, so I want to get the guides out of the way and then start going on to better content. So if you guys enjoyed this video, that's just stuff, and I hope you all have a nice day. Thank you for watching.